Did you know there is a really interesting detail? A rhino seems to appear throughout the entire movie Zootopia. Ever since Judy first arrives in Zootopia, a rhino quietly appears near her from time to time. It wears a blue shirt and orange shorts. At first, it looks like just an ordinary background character, but this is not the only time it appears. When Judy arrives at the police academy, one of her classmates is also a rhino who looks very similar. After Nick tricks Judy, and the two of them get into an argument, Judy, feeling completely disappointed, walks out of the alley alone. Then she runs into another rhino. It looks almost exactly the same. Even during the famous scene where they visit the slots, when Nick and Judy go there to handle their case, you can also find this rhino in the background. It seems like it is watching them. Even near the end of the movie, when Nick and Judy are walking together, this rhino appears in the crowd once again. According to this fan theory circulating online, these repeatedly appearing rhinos are not just ordinary background characters. Throughout the entire story, they may have been secretly watching Judy's every move. Besides that, there is another detail that almost nobody noticed. After returning home, Nick sits down to relax, while casually watching videos on a streaming service. Judy calls him. If you look closely at his phone screen, you will notice something interesting. Nick did not save Judy's real name. Instead, he saved her contact name as Carrots. That is the nickname he uses to tease Judy throughout the entire movie. But that is not even the best part. The most interesting detail is Judy's contact photo. The animation team directly reused the first frame from the beginning of the movie, and used it as Judy's profile picture on Nick's phone. Did you notice that Toy Story 5 is recreating the plot of the first movie? In Toy Story 5, Jessie becomes the main character. Just like Woody was in the first movie, the new character Lillipad is basically the new version of Buzz Lightyear. Because she is an advanced, high-tech new toy, she comes with unique features and an eye-catching design. Her appearance and playstyle are completely different from traditional toys. She quickly becomes the center of attention in Bonnie's room, fully capturing all of Bonnie's attention. This causes the old toys to gradually be left behind. When Jessie first confronts Lillipad on Bonnie's bed, the scene is almost exactly the same as when Woody and Buzz Lightyear first met in Andy's room. At first, Jessie and Lillipad are hostile toward each other. Both of them have their own prejudices and frustrations toward the other, but by the end of the movie, they understand each other's thoughts and become friends. However, there are also differences between the two. Unlike Buzz Lightyear, who was quickly accepted by the other toys, Lillipad does not immediately win over the other toys. After realizing that she disappointed Bonnie and hurt her, she even tries to leave. Lillipad jumps into a nearby donation box. This box will be loaded onto a charity truck. The truck and the donation box belong to the Tri-County Charity Organization. In the second movie, Jessie was originally taken in by this organization after being donated. So, in a way, Jessie saved Lillipad and prevented her from experiencing the same pain Jessie once suffered. The same pain Jessie went through when Emily abandoned her. Have you ever noticed the biggest twist about Ralph and Wreck-It Ralph? The movie actually planted clues on screen much earlier. Everyone in the story believed Vanellope was just a glitch. She wasn't qualified to race in the Sugar Rush competition. If you pay close attention to the opening scene showing the arcade, you can see different arcade machines being moved in and set up one after another. When the Sugar Rush cabinet is put into place, you can already see Vanellope displayed on the side of the cabinet. From the very beginning of the game's release, King Candy had already been hiding the truth from Vanellope. On top of that, the movie hides plenty of other easy-to-miss hints. King Candy is one of the few characters in Sugar Rush who recognizes Ralph the moment he sees him.
Milk my duds! It's Wreck-It Ralph!
Turbo's original arcade game was placed right next to Sugar Rush. Fix-It Felix Jr. was also being serviced nearby. King Candy, who was actually Turbo, had seen Ralph before with his own eyes. He also knew exactly how to enter Sugar Rush's code control room. Ordinary racers would never have access to the game's core programming. They couldn't open a hidden area like that either. When we look inside the code space, every other character's code blocks are neat and well organized. Only King Candy's code block is noticeably larger. The code inside is also messy and disorganized. That's because Turbo forcibly invaded Sugar Rush back then. He wasn't using his own original programming. Instead, he forcibly created the fake identity of King Candy. That's why his code is so chaotic. You noticed that there are many easily overlooked details in Big Hero 6? In the university laboratory scene at the beginning of the movie, each main character is developing equipment that will later be used in battle. Go-Go is building a high-speed bike. This device would later be integrated into her combat suit, greatly increasing her movement speed. Wasabi is researching laser technology. This technology would later become the blades on his arms. Honey Lemon is researching chemical balls. Honey Lemon creates different chemical balls through her formulas. Fred shows off his spinning badge. This item also becomes useful during the final battle and helps the entire team. What many people miss is that when Baymax scans Hero, the second time Baymax scans Hero, the result shows that Hero has no external injuries. The only conclusion it gives is that he is experiencing a teenage reaction. But the scan data shows that his blood pressure is 113/90. This number is already considered within the high blood pressure range, yet Baymax never mentions it at all. This is actually very strange, because later, he notices Hero's heart rate suddenly increasing.
Your heart rate has increased dramatically.
He can also detect changes in the body temperatures of everyone on the team. Baymax's design is that, as long as he comes into contact with anyone, he will scan that person's physical condition. Baymax was originally created in Professor Callahan's laboratory. He had already come into contact with Professor Callahan before, so when the masked villain yokai appears, after Baymax scans him, he should have immediately recognized that the masked villain's biological data was exactly the same as Professor Callahan's. He could have directly exposed the villain's true identity, but in the movie, he completely fails to do that. Did you ever notice that Sergeant Calhoun's backstory in Wreck-It Ralph is far more tragic than it seems? It's much more heartbreaking than it appears on the surface.
It's not her fault. She's programmed with the most tragic backstory ever.
Back then, Calhoun and her groom were standing at the altar, ready to get married. Suddenly, a giant cybug burst into the church. It swallowed her groom right in front of her. In that critical moment, Calhoun had no choice but to pull out a small heavy-duty firearm from beneath her wedding dress to defend herself. That experience alone is already heartbreaking enough. We also know that cybugs have a special ability. As long as they consume a target, they immediately transform into whatever they eat. There are plenty of examples in the movie. A cybug eats a gun, and it immediately grows a second gun. A cybug eats candy, and candy patterns immediately appear on its body. After the cybug consumed King Candy, it transformed directly into King Candy's appearance. If we freeze the frame and take a closer look, after the cybug swallowed the groom, its body suddenly gained many features it didn't have before. Calhoun's groom had blue eyes. That means, right in front of her, the cybug that swallowed her groom most likely transformed into his appearance. Exactly the same thing happened with King Candy, but she had no other choice except to pull the trigger. That makes Calhoun's story even more tragic. Fortunately, by the end of the story, she and Felix end up together, and finally get the happy ending she deserved. Very few people noticed this. During Barbie and Ken's honeymoon in Toy Story 3, there's a fun little detail hidden in the scene. Barbie rides Bullseye, but when Ken tries to ride Buttercup, the unicorn immediately refuses. It even makes Ken get off first. You might think it's simply because Bullseye is a horse, while Buttercup is a unicorn, but there's another key difference. Buttercup talks throughout the movie, while Bullseye never says a single word. Why is there such a difference? Think back to the ending of Toy Story 3. Before Andy gave the toys to Bonnie, we often saw Bonnie hosting tea parties and playing with Buttercup and her other toys. She didn't treat Buttercup like an ordinary animal toy. Instead, she treated Buttercup as an independent character. According to this theory, Buttercup gradually developed an independent personality through Bonnie's imagination, while Bullseye remained just a horse. There's another detail that almost no one noticed, and it's on Woody's boot. When Andy is playing with Woody, you can see Andy's name written on the bottom of the boot. The letter N in Andy on Woody's boot is written backward. Buzz Lightyear's boot also has Andy's name written on it. Most people think Andy simply misspelled it, or had trouble with reading and writing, but a clue from the second movie gives us the answer. When Woody was stolen by Al, Andy's mom mentioned that Woody was an old family toy that had been passed down for many years. That means Andy most likely got Woody when he was still very young. At that time, he hadn't fully learned how to spell yet. By the time Andy turned 6 and received Buzz Lightyear, he had already learned the correct spelling. That's why the name on Buzz's boot is written correctly.